My name is Rebecca Shields. I live in Virginia in the United States. I am an art historian, and my husband is Albanian. My first time in Albania was, I believe it was for my wedding, and that was 2013. And we have returned several times since then. I've come back with my husband, and we also have a daughter, and we have returned with her. Usually every year or every other year in the summer. And I love it. I love getting to go to Albania to see the ancient history. There's so many ancient buildings. I study architectural history, so that is fascinating to me. And it's been interesting to see how Albania has changed, how it's grown over 10 years. Every time we go, we visit Apollonia. And this is something I look forward to on every visit. I was able to take a tour of the site with some students and some archaeologists who work there. And I was fascinated by how much there is to learn, how much is still underground, and the history of the space. We also are fascinated by a very small monument that is connected to Apollonia, but is not actually on the site. And this is a single column, and it's called Shtilis. And it's visible from the highway as you drive down to Vlora, for instance. And this had ancient significance. I am fascinated by this particular monument because it was always alone. It was always a single column. Most of the time, columns were part of a larger building. This one was not. It was always meant to be alone. It did not support a statue. It was just a column. And it's on a hill. At the time, in antiquity, in the ancient Roman era, the coastline was much closer to Apollonia. It was essentially a port. It was right at the ocean, at the sea. And Shtilis, this one column, was like a signal to people coming by boat that they had arrived. And it was the first thing you would see by boat to recognize that you were at Apollonia. And it's still there. It's still there. You could easily miss it. You could easily pass by and not know that it existed. I don't think my husband, I don't know if he knew that it was there until I told him, because I had been researching the history of Apollonia. A lot of people, I think, who live there may know about it and may not. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating. Where I live in America, we don't have buildings that old. So to see ancient history, thousands of years old, right next to the car was a unique experience for me. So there are several locations that are favorites for me. I still have lots of places in Albania that I would like to visit, but among the places, the cities, the sites that I have visited, I really enjoy going back to Vlora because it's kind of a combination, right, of these, there's an ancient or a Byzantine era, I think medieval period mosque in the middle of the city. I'm fascinated by that. And then the coastline is lovely. The lungomare is lovely. I enjoy just kind of relaxing there and then having a coffee by the sea and passing by beautiful pieces of architecture on the way there. I'm a historian. I'm interested in Vlora because it's the site where modern Albania was founded. There's a monument to that. I was fascinated to see that. We also, where else have we enjoyed? Saranda and Butrint for very similar reasons. And of course, there's more. At Butrint, there's, ancient mosaics, ancient Roman mosaics, ancient walls, ruins of architecture, fragments of buildings, the amphitheater, I think a nymphaeum as well. And I have visited similar sites in Italy and in Greece, but you have the space more to yourself. You can breathe a little bit more easily at Butrint. It's not over touristed yet, I think. So it's a really fortunate experience to be able to visit there. Of course, the coastline is exquisite. It's gorgeous in that same location. And I love anywhere where I can have a coffee with a view of the water. Oh, I could see us there. I would have to be under specific circumstances, but that's true here in America for me as well. For instance, I prefer cities. And that's also true here. My father is from a very rural farm town, and I wouldn't probably go back there to live either in Virginia. But we do stay in my husband's very small hometown when we visit, and I enjoy that. I prefer the cities. I really enjoy Tirana because of the museums, the galleries. There are things that I would love to visit there, and I enjoy going there whenever we're in the country. There are so many things I like. Coffee. If I can get to food, there's a lot. I love a good coffee. I love that things like coffee, aculore, ice cream, like those are things that we do frequently when we're there in the summer, and I like that it's accessible. There's in America, it's just down the street from me, right here. There's a coffee shop. There's an ice cream parlor. It's $17 for my daughter and me sometimes to get ice cream. It's ridiculous. It's $6 for coffee. I like that in Albania, coffee is, $1, and it's good. It's better than it is here. There are just some small pleasures in life that I think are expected to be accessible to people. I feel this in Albania, I feel this in Greece, I feel this in Italy, in other parts of Southern Europe too. I like that. Sitting, enjoying some sunshine, I like that about Albania too. I like the climate. Sitting, enjoying some sunshine with a coffee, having conversation with relatives, with friends. This is not something that's easy to do in America. Everyone is going somewhere, doing something, producing something in a hurry. And there's very little time for a coffee. And I love that in Albania, you take time for the coffee. Something I don't like, I think that there's definitely areas to improve in infrastructure and in environmental maintenance. When we go to the beaches are the most beautiful in Europe in many cases. I have noticed frequently is when we're when we're at the beach near where my husband grew up, there's a problem with trash, right? Just keeping it, keeping it clean. Some years it's better, and then some years it's worse. It really can vary. But that's something that I think would make it so much, it's already a wonderful place, and it would make it an even more enjoyable place as well. I think it's been really exciting to see how much easier it is to move around Albania in the past 10 years. When I first went from Fier to Saranda, I think the drive took 5 hours. And now with new roads and with alternative ways of getting from one place to another, trips are much faster. Going from Fier to Vlora used to take a couple of hours. It takes 30 minutes now. So that's improved. I think there are probably ways of improving infrastructure while maintaining the natural beauty of the landscape as well. I hope to see what happens in the future. He's wonderful, of course. He's wonderful. I think that we've been here a long time in America. So he's got his favorite football teams and American football teams. He's found, we found some Albanian friends. We found a few Albanian families near where we live. Not very many, unfortunately, but we have found a few. And whenever we are with them, it's always, very lively and very fun. he has very creative words to Christmas songs. He didn't always know what the words were to Jingle Bells, so he would make them up, and he would sing Jingle Pants. He thought it was saying Jingle Pants. But when we were in Albania, I definitely make linguistic mistakes too, so I'm not judging. It's just humorous. Now he loves Jingle Pants. We sing Jingle Pants in the house all year.
And can you say something about your work? I know I have to know. Yeah.
I'd love to. I am a historian, and I specialize in the history of the built environment, the history of architecture, also art history as well. I teach art history at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. And my research is on British architectural history in the 17th century. So I also enjoy being in Albania because it's easy for me, much easier than it is in America. It's easy for me to travel throughout Europe to do the research I need to do. Yes, I teach 16th, 17th, and 18th century art and architecture at the university, and I'm currently working on my book about women patrons of architecture in 17th century Britain. I do. Yeah. Yes, I do. I definitely do. I frequently do, actually. I have taught the art of the classical world before, ancient Greece and ancient Rome, and I always bring up Albania when I do that. I have taught Apollonia before, not necessarily as a historical site, but as a site of preservation. So we discuss it that way. What else? I have also talked about Apollonia as a Byzantine site because there is a Byzantine and a medieval history there as well. This is fascinating for American students because, again, the built environment that we have here typically only goes back, if we're lucky, a couple of centuries. And to see that many layers of history at one place, sometimes even on one building, is something that they probably haven't seen before. And Apollonia is such a wonderful case study for a site changing over many years, many centuries, even millennium. Faleminderit shumë, mirë pafshim.